Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Wednesday Night Madness here on YouTube and StreamYard.com. It is good old MF Michael Fletcher alongside Anthony Florio. We are awaiting the presence of Michael Bullock. If he comes in, we'll catch him up on what he missed. If we don't, then it's fine, no problem. Guys, we got ourselves a lot to talk about tonight. Obviously, NXT, obviously, AEW, and the bombshells that was dropped tonight as it relates to Forbidden Door on Sunday. Ooh, this was big. This was the biggest one yet. I don't think I've ever been more excited than I was tonight with this show. AEW, I don't know how. I gotta say, you clever bastards. That's all I'm gonna say. You did something I did not even think was possible. Yes, we'll get into it. We'll get into it. But we will say this. It seems like now, more than ever, with a lot of things going on, with all of the turmoil that is happening with WWE as it relates to the stuff that's happening with Mr. McMahon, with Kevin Dunn, with John Laurinaitis, that things are starting to change a little bit. As many of you know, Stephanie McMahon is now the interim CEO and chairwoman of the board of WWE at the moment. We don't know how long that's going to be. We don't know if that will continue until the investigation is over, whatever that is. Jeff Jarrett is also gonna be, he to the corporate ladder. Bruce Pritchard now takes over for, we'll get into that, Anthony. Bruce Pritchard now takes over where John Laurinaitis took over as president of talent operations. But there's one thing that really caught my ear today, and that was Triple H is in Florida at the Performance Center. Is it possible that he might be on the verge of taking over NXT again?
After everything he's been through, I would be very surprised if that's the case.
Now, we remember the last time Triple H took over NXT. All he just did was revolutionize NXT and flipped it into basically the best product of WWE. Better than Monday Night Raw, better than SmackDown, and probably the only company that literally gave a threat to AEW.
Wednesday Night Wars.
It was the Wednesday Night Wars. Now, don't get me wrong. AEW did win it. They won the war. However, when it came to the quality of the shows, especially the pay-per-views, the takeovers, you cannot deny that NXT was even on par or even surpassed a couple of AEW pay-per-view events. So, now there's talk that if Vince is gone, and it looks like if Stephanie becomes the permanent chairwoman of WWE and that she becomes the CEO of WWE and it's her. There is a possible talk of possibly her, Triple H, and Paul Heyman working as a dream team and working all of WWE.
I would love to see that.
Now, let me just be very blunt here. We know the creative mind of Triple H. If he brings that NXT element that he brought to the table, and you got a genius in Paul Heyman, and he was the one that was running Monday Night Raw for a little while when Raw absolutely was killing it for about a year or two. Because he was the executive director, executive producer of Monday Night Raw. If these three forces comes together and create something really special for WWE, my goodness, what a shot in the arm that company would become. I will openly admit it. Their demise will lead them to a resurrection of WWE because the company itself could go back, try to start going for the indie guys, going for the NXT guys, and opening an avenue that could possibly start poaching AEW talent, New Japan talent. They will open the door for that. Then the balance of power shifts. Does WWE make a full comeback and then says, okay, now let's go after AEW and let's try to really push them out the door? Because that's the only way I could see this. Because for WWE, they're like, oh, AEW's not a threat. AEW's not a threat. No, AEW is a threat. And they're pushing WWE out the door. But you get rid of Kevin Dunn. You get rid of Vince McMahon. You get rid of John Laurinaitis. And insert yourselves with guys that you can trust, the guys that was vocal for NXT, and bring them back and make that company into what it is with creative mind that Paul Heyman has, with a creative mind that with Triple H has. Now, this all hinges on Triple H and his health, and we all know that. We all know about the heart attack. We all know about the health issues for Triple H. So I'm not just going to stand here and say, oh, it's possible. Because we also got to be very mindful about Triple H and the heart issue that he had, the heart attack, and we all know about the interview. So we'll get into that tonight. We'll get into that in the future. But the reason why I'm talking about NXT is because of the fact of last night's show. Could this have been the last night, for now, of this being a 2.0, and maybe, just maybe, could this lead to a resurrection of the black and gold NXT?
Damn it to hell, I hope so.
We'll see. So, with that said, let's get into NXT 2.0. I know Florio wants to get into some things that has happened during this past week, and we will. But I'd rather talk about the shows first, and then we'll get into it. Normally, we talk about it at the beginning. However, I'd rather talk about the shows first, and then we'll get into all the other stuff after. So, with that said, let's start off with NXT 2.0. That was last night on the USA Network, and here we go. So, we started off NXT. Let's see if I can get it. All right. Yes, that's the one I need. And here we go. All right. So, we started off the show with Solo Sikoa going one-on-one with Grayson Waller. Waller wins the match in 12 minutes and 18 seconds. And I'll say this, man. I thought it was a little surprising that they gave it to Waller. I thought that they were gonna give it to, I thought that they were gonna move it along, and we'll see how it played out. But I think this was a better outcome than it was. Solid match, good start. I could easily give this about maybe 2 3/4 to 3 stars. So Anthony, it's yours.
What was that time again?
12:18.
12:18. All right. 3 1/4 to 3.5, I think, is the correct rating for this. A great way to jump it off. All right. I'll say it like this, though. Solo Sikoa may not be a veteran based on experience, but he works like one in the ring. It helps elevate his opponents to compete at a main roster level. He told a complete story with Waller while staying within the expected WWE style. It may not have been the most exciting of affairs, but this was a much better TV match than is usual for NXT 2.0. Waller got to show off his range in the ring, and he pulled out a surprise win over a potential North American title contender. As long as this helps launch Waller into title contention, the result makes sense. Both men will be interesting contenders to Carmelo Hayes and even Braun Breaker soon. I think, with all due respect, MF, I think you underscored this a little bit. I'm going to give this 3 1/4 to 3.5 stars, and I could make an argument that this could be the fight of the night. That's how good this was. And I think you see my little chat message there, MF. So
I got it.
Yep, just making sure, because we got some more exciting stuff. I said we didn't have enough excitement already tonight. But
yeah.
But anyways, 3 1/4, 3.5 for this. One of the fights of the night, if not the fight of the night. So with that being said, MF, let's continue to run down 2.0.
Well, we did get one other, I guess you could say, bit of news that came out. Jordan Devlin's now joining NXT, coming to the United States under a new name. JD, what is McIntosh?
JD McIntosh? Is that what it is?
Yeah, or McDonough?
Well, JD McDonough. Yeah, that's it.
So JD McDonough, and that's Jordan Devlin's new character. And honestly, I don't mind this one. I actually don't mind this one. McDonough is a very Irish name, so it does fit in with his character. I just want to see how he plays. Or what are we going to get from JD? We're going to see him soon. He's coming. So I'm excited. Jordan Devlin finally making his I guess you could say long-awaited return to the United States. Now a member of the NXT US crew. We all know what he's done in NXT UK. I mean, one of the best wrestlers coming out of the United Kingdom. So I can't wait. So, with that said, we had women's tag team match. Ulicia Leon and Valentina Fraza, they went up against my girls, Catalina, Chance, and Kaden Carter. Of course, Chance and Carter wins 5 minutes, 15 seconds. Anthony, this is more of a showcase, but give it up for Leon and Fraza. They actually, this was better than expected.
Yeah, they took your girls to the limit, MF. I'll be honest with you, and I'm starting to take a liking to Faraz and Leon myself. But I'll tell you what, I'm gonna give this. I'm gonna call this a fun little sprint. I'm gonna give this a solid 2.5 stars. I mean, because this was better than it looked on paper. Two of the most established women's tag teams took advantage of their familiarity with one another to put on a solid sprint. Yes, the result was a foregone conclusion, but Leon and Faraz looked better than ever together. The latter looked strong in their hot tag sequence, particularly. And I hope that one of these teams will help right the women's division in NXT. And Katana Chance flipped out of a double suplex and hit both opponents with a double neck breaker. That's just one of the many examples of the sick athleticism that this beautiful young lady has, and that's why, and that's one of the many reasons why that Katana Chance has literally and figuratively won the heart of good old MF Michael Fletcher. So, not just the American Ninja Warrior, but also her in-ring ability as well. So, so that's all there is to say there. So, a solid 2.5 stars for the effort. Fun little sprint, and with a little more seasoning, Faraz and Leon could definitely be in the future. They could definitely be considered for the women's tag team championships down the road. But we'll have to wait and see on that. But they're not quite there yet. They need a little more. But last night was a good step in the right direction. So not much more to say. 2.5 stars, fun little sprint. MF, yes, your girls winning was no big surprise. But hey, as I always like to say, Valentina Faraz, Yulissa Leon, they gave your girls literally one hell of a try.
Yeah, oh yeah. I'm not gonna deny that. I'm not gonna poo over that either. I mean, this was an incredible game, so an incredible battle. So, yeah, I'll give you that, and I'll agree with that. The 2.25, 2.5. I thought it was fun. So yeah, nothing more to add. Next up we had Diamond Mine member. So we had Diamond Mine member Roderick Strong and Damon Camp. They went up against two members, against Legado del Fantasma, Cruz del Toro, and Joaquin Wild. When it was all said and done, Diamond Mine wins the match in 4 minutes and 57 seconds. All right. Again, fun little sprint. Excellent match. Another 2.5-star battle. But the thing and the narrative about this is the miscommunication between the family and Legado del Fantasma. You could already tell this is not working out. There's gonna be a breakup eventually because these two teams, this pairing just cannot get along. Every time, and the thing was, Legado had it. They didn't need the interference. It was stupid on the part of Tony D'Angelo and the crew trying to help them get a leg up when Legado had it. They were well on their way to victory. They didn't need that. But it blew up in their faces. Once again, there was a backfire. And this time, Diamond Mine benefits from it and wins it. So, Anthony Florio, like I said, Legado had this. This was well on their way to victory. And then once again, the Dawn of NXT decided to call an audible to try to help his guys. It blows up in their faces, and the Diamond Mine benefits and wins it.
Indeed, they did. And let's just say there was more where that came from, if you know what I mean, when it comes down to it. But I'll tell you, MF, you're absolutely right. This was another fun little sprint. This was another 2.5-star match. Damon Kemp has been an ideal addition to the Diamond Mine. He is an explosive athlete who is benefiting from working with Roderick Strong. In a match with a ton of talent, he stood out often. And that said, everyone looked good within the limited time. No one in the D'Angelo family is doing well lately. This makes for a solid story in the short term, but it could ruin the momentum of everyone involved if they don't break up soon. Strong, and how about Roderick Strong slapping Damon Kemp in the face, which set him off. And then Kemp suplexed both members of Legado around the ring and then laid in forearms on the mat. Very, very impressive, to say the very least. So, 2.5 stars, another fun little sprint. So with that being said, MF, let's continue on.
All right, with that, you and me did move on. And the next thing that we did have here, well, then it was Cameron Grimes versus Idris Adolfo. It was Cameron Grimes winning the match in 5 minutes and 37 seconds. And Anthony, I want to get your thoughts on this. What do you think about this latest, I guess you could say, attitude change or this switch in demeanor by one Cameron Grimes? He has gotten serious. Like, whoa.
Yeah. Again, theme of the night here. Another 2.5 stars for the match because the match was too short to be really good, but the two worked hard with limited time. Idris Anafi is extremely talented and will make an impact before long. This was the briefest sample of that potential. Cameron Grimes, the richest man in NXT. Technically, he's still playing the face, but he is leaning more into heel tendencies. He will play the same role when he challenges Braun Breaker for the NXT Championship on July 5th as part of the Great American Bash. He could go, I believe he's going to go full heel afterward. Well, he could go full heel afterward, or he could move on as still a fan favorite. Either path works, though I believe it would be a shame to turn Grimes already. Anafi demanded Grimes keep kicking him in the chest, refusing to go down. And after the match, Grimes shook hands with Anafi as well as Malik Blade. And then Braun Breaker congratulated Grimes, who promised he would beat the champion at the Great American Bash. That's Cameron Grimes. So, theme of the night thus far here, fun little sprint. This was another 2.5 stars. You can make an argument maybe for 2 3/4, but I think 2.5 is the appropriate rating for this one. But they're teasing it right now. Maybe you could say he's a bit of a tweener right now, MF. I mean, half babyface, half heel now.
He's tweening. Yep.
Yeah. But I think we'll finally figure out who the real Cameron Grimes is. Are we still gonna get the fun-loving babyface Cameron Grimes who the fans love, or are they gonna turn him full on heel? I think we're gonna find out come July 5th at the Great American Bash. Especially if he loses. I think if he loses, I think he's gonna go full heel. I really do. But if he wins, maybe if he somehow, some way actually wins it, then perhaps he stays as a babyface. I don't know. We'll see. But the Great American Bash, July 5th, that's when I think we're gonna know who the real Cameron Grimes is. So that's all there is to say. So MF, what says you?
I agree with that. I think this is at least a 2.5 star match. I thought this was a fun little sprint, like you said. I kind of wonder where they're gonna go with it. I think right now they are hinting at a possible heel turn for Cameron Grimes and the way that he talked, which if you really think about it, he did kind of call out Blade and Idris. And the thing is, he questioned their heart, questioned their passion and their fire, which, sometimes a good swift kick in the ass is what you need to wake up in a company like that. and I kind of felt like this was the right thing to do. So for me, I had nothing wrong with it. I enjoyed it. All right. So with that said, next up we had was Von Wagner versus Brooks Jansen. Wagner wins the match in 4 minutes and 45 seconds. All right, this was solid. It's a good win for Von Wagner, and I thought they did a good job with the way that they did with Brooks Jansen. I thought his match looked solid. I think they did a solid job with the way that they handled the situation. I thought the body of work was fine. This is another 2.25, at least 2.25 stars. This was okay for what it was worth. Yes, it was limited time, more or less than any of the matches prior, but 445 was a decent amount to work with. I thought they did an okay job with this. So I thought it wasn't it wasn't as fun of a sprint as all the others have been, but it was necessary. It told a decent story. I wish they could have gone more here. I think they could have gone a couple more minutes here. That would have been fine. But all in all, it was not bad. I thought it was solid work by these two men. Anthony, it's yours.
Yeah, give this about 2.25 stars or so. No, I could give it 2.5 again. I mean, because you know what? I think it was a good sprint between two big men who got a chance to show more than they have in recent weeks. Brooks Jensen especially had his best performance to date as a solo act. He told the right story here, as he was always outmatched but never discouraged to keep fighting. Now that Wagner has defeated Jensen, he will likely be looking for his win back from Josh Briggs. Hopefully round 2 gets more time than its predecessor. And there was a squeamish spot during this. Von Wagner used the ropes and the turnbuckles to injure the right arm and fingers of Brooks Jensen. Yeesh. And Brooks Jensen hit a running clothesline and explosive DDT for a near fall. But that's really all there is to say there. So another 2.5 for this effort. Another fun little sprint here. So not much more to say here. MF, let's move on to the next match. Women's action.
Yeah, it was Alba Fire going 1-on-1 with Alba Fire going 1-on-1 with Lash Legend. Alba Fire wins the match in 3 minutes and 31 seconds via disqualification. Well, by default, it is the worst fight of the night. I don't think we really need to go any more deeper than that. So, with that said, we're just going to go into it. The North American Championship on the line, the main event of the evening, Tony D'Angelo versus Carmelo Hayes, winner of the bout, in 10 minutes and 38 seconds. And still, the North American champion, Carmelo Hayes, a champ, still the champ. Anthony Florio, it is yours.
I'm going to say second best fight of the night here. I'm going to give this 3 to 3.25 stars. With all the hype, this could have gone longer. Carmelo Hayes and Tony D'Angelo have chemistry left to explore. Still, it was a good match from start to finish, and the right man won. Escobar, costing the Don, protects D'Angelo for a future title shot. For the moment, the A champion will move on to one of many possible challengers. D'Angelo versus Escobar continues, and there needs to be at least one last match between them. And you remember, earlier in the night, D'Angelo reminded Escobar to help him win. And later, Melo promised to beat the Don and the D'Angelo family in the main event. And D'Angelo relied on his power, but Melo ducked him, sending him into the turnbuckle, followed by a lung blower for a near fall. But 3 to 3.25 stars is the rating for this. It was the second best fight of the night. I got to say the opener by a smidge was better. So that's all I can say. So MF, your boy keeps on rolling. He stays the champ stays the champ. But the question is, who's next for the A champ?
Yeah, we just gotta wait and see how this plays out. This is gonna be very interesting. I thought they did a really good job with it. I thought they did a solid performance with it. Yeah, this was about 3.25, 3.5 for me. Yeah, really nothing more to add here. So, overall review here. Look, I gotta say, this was a solid NXT. Yeah, a lot of it was fun little sprints. There wasn't really much detail. We didn't go deep into many of the matches, but at the end of the day, I thought they did a fine job. So I really got nothing bad to say here. I thought this was, I'll give this between 7. I gotta say, solid 7. I thought they did a really good job. Anthony, it's yours.
Yeah, I'll give it to you, MF. 7 out of 10 here. Only one really bad match, which was the Alba Fire Lash Legend, but we had several matches that, yes, they were short, but the thing was, they were fun little sprints. And then, it was the usual formula, but here's the thing. I mean, we already know what the traditional, predictable formula for 2.0 is each and every week, with the exception of special shows. On regulation shows, the first match is usually good to great. Same can be said for the main event. And usually everything in between is usually ugh. This time around, the stuff in between, solid. That's all there is to say on that. And yes, this show still has work to do.
Oh, it's got a lot of work to do.
Absolutely a lot of work.
A lot of work.
And if there's one man who can turn this gravy train around, I believe it is the game Triple H.
Yeah.
I believe. I mean, if he's back, he said he was back. That's what he said. He told the talent today, "I'm back." So the dirt sheets are all saying that they don't know what that means, but if it's what MF and I think it means and hope it means, business is going to pick up. And hopefully this ridiculousness known as 2.0 goes hasta la bye-bye, and we go back to the bread and butter. We go back to the good stuff. We go back to be a man fights. We go back to banging takeovers, and that's all there is to say on that. So, Hunter, I hope you're doing well, brother. And if you are, please get rid of this 2.0 nonsense. Even though this was a good show, last night was one of the rare good regulation shows. It's very rare we get good shows from the regulation NXT 2.0. And the good thing is we got the Great American Bash coming up, and those shows are usually good, are usually fun to watch. So hopefully this one will be no exception.
Any premier premier special events that they do, they end up doing really well. So no, there's no doubt about it. So we'll wait and see what happens. There's really nothing more to add there. It's time for AEW.
Let's go.
We started it off, of course, with Bryan Danielson, or it was talked about that Bryan Danielson, unfortunately, not only is he out of the Forbidden Door show, he is out on Blood and Guts as well.
Ugh.
Bad loss for AEW. That close. And yeah, a lot of people were excited. Obviously, Zack Sabre Jr. now does not have an opponent. However, he is going to get an opponent. We just don't know who it is just yet. What the hell was that?
No, that was a glitch on my end.
Okay, all right.
Okay.
All right. I hope hopefully that glitch does not rear its head. I had to drop my head. I had to drop the headset there for a moment there because that was a little loud, and I popped my eardrum there. Anyway, so we'll wait and see what happens. It does lead to the first fight of the night, as it was Will Ospreay with the Aussie Open, Kyle Fletcher, and Mark Davis. They went up against Roppongi Vice, Rocky Romero, Trent Beretta, and Orange Cassidy. When it was all said and done, the winners of the bout in 12 minutes and 11 seconds was Orange Cassidy and Roppongi Vice. Yo, good night for Chaos as they get a big win here. So solid match. But if you notice at the end of the match, they Jeff Cobb and Kago Khan showed up with the rest of the United Empire, and they were about to do something only to get cut off at the pass by FTR. And woo! Are we looking at a possible 10-man brawl? 10-man tag? Forbidden Door?
I know something you don't know.
Huh?
I know something you don't know.
Is it gonna happen?
I'm gonna share that with you. Oh, I know you've been very busy I know your work's been crazy busy for you lately, and you haven't had much time, but
no.
Hey. I got something that's been announced for Forbidden Door that I think is going to be even better. Well, I'm sure you know Will Ospreay is going to be defending the IWGP United States Heavyweight Championship at Forbidden Door against Orange Cassidy.
Yep.
So there's not going to be a 10-man.
All right.
What there is going to be though, FTR versus Jeff Cobb and who's the other guy?
Congo Khan.
Yeah. That's what's their team name?
They are part of the United Empire.
Yep. And Roppongi Vice. Those three teams are going to battle it out in a winner-take-all match for both the Ring of Honor and IWGP World Tag Team Championships.
All right, now hold. You just dropped the nuke. That's a big announcement. Now, FTR is the Ring of Honor World Tag Team Champions.
Yep.
United Empire are the IWGP World Tag Team Champions.
Correct.
There is a possibility, there will be a guaranteed winner that somebody will have both belts.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you want to put my prediction in right now, I'm calling FTR to win it all. I'm calling FTR. I don't think Roppongi Vice is going to do it. It would be awesome if they did it. I don't see it. I do see FTR because they're going to want to make them the biggest tag team in wrestling today. They're about to become what the Young Bucks were just a few years ago.
Belt collectors?
Belt collectors, exactly. Or, one better, the Hardys. The Hardys were the best because they were the true belt collectors. Especially in tag team. So I'm just leaving it at that.
Well, what was your rating for that match?
I'll go with 3.5.
And the time was what? 12 minutes and
12:11.
12:11. All right. Apologies for the interruption there, but I wanted to get that off. Make sure that you were addressed. But before I get into that, what happened at the beginning, with Bryan Danielson, Zack Sabre Jr., he came out at the end of the promo, and all the stare down did was tease a match that all of us fans, unfortunately, are going to have to wait and see. If we had gotten that at Forbidden Door, I'm telling you right now, that battle of Matt Magicians would have been the undisputed show stealer of Forbidden Door. And probably would have shattered Uncle Dave Meltzer's star rating system.
Mm.
The intrigue of Bryan Danielson's replacement makes for a nice hook and could sell some extra pay-per-views. But it is difficult not to feel disappointment over the cancellation of a purest dream match, especially, you know myself and Michael Bullock, how much we love technical wrestling. And MF, I know you've got a soft spot for it too. At least the American Dragon was fired up throughout and did not let what is sure to be disappointment cloud his efforts to get fans excited for the next week of television. And whoever his replacement is also going to take his spot in the Blood and Guts match next week at the Little Caesars Arena in Detroit. Now, as far as the match is concerned, I agree. 3.5 stars, high energy, all action tag match. Saw the baby faces overcome a concentrated beatdown of the isolated Trent Beretta to score the come from behind win following Orange Cassidy's orange punch. Match was a ton of fun and further proof that trios matches might be the easiest match to pull off in wrestling today. Whether it is AEW, WWE, Impact, AAA, or the Indies, they are as sure a thing as there is in the business. That is not to diminish the work of anyone involved here, as all 6 participants had their work boots on, most notably the often underrated Trent Beretta. And speaking of underrated, do not be surprised for a moment if Orange Cassidy and Will Ospreay tear the house down in Chicago Sunday night. They exhibited some chemistry in their brief interaction tonight that suggests they have the tools to outshine every other match on this loaded card. And it would not be the first time Cassidy has done such a thing. His Revolution 2020 match with Pac came very close to doing just that. And Will Ospreay is on the roll of his life right now, making him an even more likely candidate for Orange Cassidy to steal the show with. So there isn't much more to say here. The pop that Orange Cassidy received, despite not being consistently utilized of late, is still that of a major star. And it's great to see him back here and preparing for such a high-profile match against Will Ospreay Sunday night. So 3.5 stars. I 100% agree with you. So not much more to say here. So, hey, we got Michael Bullock here. So MF, ball's in your court. If you want to catch Bullock up, that's fine. Or if you want to keep going and then we'll catch Bullock up after, it's up to you.
I'm probably gonna do that because there's just so much we got to get into.
Absolutely.
So Bullock, just hang tight. We'll help you jump in on some of the other stuff in a little bit. I just want to get through this AEW and then we'll backtrack and we'll get you through your NXT. We only talked about one match already, so just give me your thoughts on that match, Bullock, which was
match we just did, right?
The match we just did.
All right, then Bullock, I give it to you then.
What was the match?
Oh, that was a 6-man tag. It was a 6-man tag team match. United Empire, Will Ospreay, and the Aussies. They went up against Roppongi Vice and Orange Cassidy. Cassidy and Roppongi Vice wins the match in 12 minutes and 11 seconds.
Yeah, I mean this was an unbelievable match here with these trios. I mean, and we got ourselves a pretty good preview of what can we expect when Will Ospreay and Orange Cassidy face off. I mean, I can only imagine what's going to happen when these two face off at Forbidden Door. I mean, this is going to be. I mean, it could be one of the sleeper fights of the night here with these two. So I'm going to give this about 3.5 stars for this match. I mean, all I can say is I cannot wait to see what goes down at Forbidden Door when Orange Cassidy and Will Ospreay face off. So it's yours, Fletch.
Yeah, all right. So with that said, we're just going to move right on along. We got Malachi Black versus Penta Oscuro in a match that the winner will get to be a part of the Forbidden Door 4-way for the title. And it was Malachi Black. He advances. He's going to go to Forbidden Door. He wins it in 9 minutes and 49 seconds. Anthony Florio, it is yours.
Yep, the field is complete now, MF. Malachi Black versus Pac versus Miro versus Tomohiro Ishii. Wow. That's going to be something. As expected, this was a good match that was hurt only by an ill-placed commercial break that disrupted the flow. Both men looked great. The selling of Oscuro's injured back actually led to the finish, and Black scored another quality singles win. It'll be interesting to see what happens Sunday in Chicago. Malachi Black joins Pac, Miro, and New Japan Pro Wrestling's legendary Tomohiro Ishii, the Stone Pitbull, feels like the only real option not to win the title, while Pac's inconsistent appearances over the last year have to be cause of hesitation in terms of putting the title on him. Given the fact that Miro has already been TNT champion, putting the gold on Malachi Black and using it to add to the imposing nature of House of Black is hardly a bad idea. So there isn't really much more to say here. I'm going to give this about 3 to 3.25 stars for the effort. I think it got a little pressed for time. These two easily could have given us a banger, but it was a little pressed for time. But, it is what it is. But that's all there is to say. 3.25. So not much more to say. Michael Bullock, we have our 4. Malachi Black, Pac, Miro, and New Japan's Tomohiro Ishii for the first ever All-Atlantic Championship Sunday night.
Yes, 3.25. I agree with you on this. I mean, this was definitely a good match here. I mean, like you said, now the field is set for the Atlantic Championship. Yeah, I mean, I cannot wait to see what goes down with this. But obviously, I mean, and like you said, I mean, Miro's already been TNT champion, so putting it on him doesn't make sense. So, I mean, I think Malachi Black makes more sense, but we'll get into it more when we preview this match as part of the Forbidden Door special. So, yeah, there's really nothing more to say. Fletch is yours. The field is set.
The field is set. We got to take a quick moment here. We want to welcome all the hockey fans that just saw the Stanley Cup final. Game number 4 is in the books, and Colorado is now 1 win away from capturing the Stanley Cup. They win it here tonight, 3-2 in OT. As it was Nassim Kadri winning it for the Avs. Look, he slips it right by Vasilevsky. It looked like he actually got the save on it, but no, he did not. It slipped by him, went right by the armpit into the back of the net. Game.
Yeah, very, very reminiscent of Patrick Kane in 2010. Remember that goal that won the Stanley Cup for Chicago?
Yeah.
Very reminiscent of that.
Where basically the puck got caught. We didn't know where it was, and it was under the suspension of the netting. It got hooked in there. It was like, oh, my goodness, what has happened? And next thing we know, it's a goal. Game over. Avs win. So they are now 1 win away. Guys, on Friday, the Stanley Cup will be in Denver. Will we see it? Will it come out? Will it be presented to the Avalanche as the champions of the NHL on Friday? We're just going to have to wait and find out. But now Tampa is now in a very unfamiliar position. They are now down 3-1. I think the dynasty is over, folks. I think the three-peat will not happen. That's what I'm just calling it. I'm just saying it. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong, but Colorado looks like they are poised to finish it off and capture the cup for the first time for the first time since one of the greatest Stanley Cup moments in the history, when Ray Bourque finally got to raise it for the first time in his career after the Avalanche won that Stanley Cup, knocking off a very gamed, if I remember, was it New Jersey Devils squad to win the Stanley Cup that year. So, with that said, we move on. Next up we had was Adam Hangman Page. He went up against Silas Young of Ring of Honor fame. When it was all said and done, Adam Hangman Page won the match in 8 minutes 43 seconds. But wait, there's more. So then you got Jay White. You had Adam Cole. They were starting to go with a little bit of a beatdown, try to do 2-on-1 to try to take out the Hangman. Okay. Next thing you know, you hear the coin drop. What? No, wait a minute. No. It can't be him. It is not him. I thought he was still in Japan. Nope. Ladies and gentlemen, the Rainmaker, Kazuchika Okada, the heart and soul of New Japan Pro Wrestling, the ace of New Japan Pro Wrestling. This guy is labeled as the John Cena of this company. If Hiroshi Tanahashi, well, actually, no. Hiroshi Tanahashi is the John Cena. Okada is Roman Reigns. That's pretty much, that sums it up. Okada is the Roman Reigns of the company. The face, the icon, the it guy of the company. That's their version of the tribal chief. That is their version of the top of the top of the top, and he's been doing it for 10 freaking years now. There's nobody better in New Japan than this man right here. This, you want to talk about heart and soul of New Japan Pro Wrestling? This is it. This is the man. And everybody will say that. Even our old colleague from the Wrestling Forum, Derek Ferreira, he will even acknowledge that Okada is the face and the heart of New Japan Pro Wrestling. There's no debate about it. If there's 3 guys right now that is far and away the guys who have paved the way for this new generation of New Japan, Tanahashi, Okada, and I'll even throw Tetsuya Naito from Los Ingobernables de Japón. Those are the 3 guys that's been running New Japan for the last year or so, for the last 5 years. These are the guys that's been paving the way. Now, don't get me wrong. There's other guys out there that has really made it their own. From Evil to Kota Ibushi. Ibushi is gone. He's not even in New Japan anymore. We haven't seen him in months. We don't even think we're ever going to see him again. That's how bad it's gotten. Then you got, yes, Jay White. I can't deny it. Even though I can't stand the son of a bleep, I don't like him. I think he's an egotistical whatever. I can't say the words. Don't wanna. Because, God forbid, I say anything bad about Bullet Club. But anyway. So, you got that going on. And then he shows up and he almost hooked the Switchblade with the Rainmaker clothesline. If he would have nailed him, he had him in the position too. He had him hooked up. He had him twisted around. I was on the verge of yelling "Rain!" And once he slipped out, I was like, "Oh, damn!" I was so close from calling it too. But hey, this is amazing, and this is shocking too, because the one thing we were hearing the whole time was that Okada was not going to be on the show. Okada was not going to be there. Need I remind you, his wife is pregnant. She's a flight risk, and they're expecting their first baby in August. So there was a lot of concern that Okada was not going to be here. The minute he lost the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship to Switchblade Jay White, I'm thinking, no, did we just lose Okada? Well, guess what, folks? No, we did not. He's going to be in Chicago on Sunday. He's going to be at Forbidden Door because now AEW and New Japan sending out joint releases. One in Japanese for all the fans in Japan, and AEW Tony Khan dropped the nuke for us tonight. Fatal 4-way for the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship. The champion, Switchblade Jay White, now has to defend the title against Adam Cole of AEW, Adam Hangman Page of AEW, and New Japan's own Kurusuke Okada. Gentlemen, you want to talk about raising the bar? The Forbidden Door, when Tanahashi went through, that was one thing. When Minoru Suzuki went through, that was one thing. When Tomohiro Ishii busted through, that was a thing. When Roppongi Vice came through, that was a thing. David Finlay comes through, that was a thing. This right here is what the world was waiting for. This was the moment that wrestling needed. I will honestly say this. If Okada wasn't going to be on the show, I don't know if this would have been as big of an event that it was meant to be. Now you got the heart and soul of New Japan in the freaking building. He's going to be at the UC on the Madhouse on Madison on Sunday night. You want to talk about a game changer? You just went tenfold on this. My interest went, I'll even say it, my interest was maybe a 6 to a 7. After what happened tonight, with Okada showing up, that interest went to an 11. This is my guy. Out of all the guys in New Japan, this is the one I wait for. This is the guy I was hoping to see come through. And now he has. And let me tell you guys, the biggest payoff, and I know a lot of people don't think it's going to happen, but I'm going to call it right now. The reason why they did this and Jay White is the champion is so that Okada gets the belt back. He lost it once before the Jay White. And the last time these two fought was literally in the United States. Super Card of Honor, the G1 Super Card of Honor in Madison Square Garden, New York City for WrestleMania 35 weekend. And that night, Okada walked out champion. I'm calling it right now. I don't give a shit what anybody thinks. Okada's walking out with the belt on Sunday night. The Madhouse on Madison will be mad again because Okada, the Rainmaker, the ace, the heart and soul of New Japan fucking wrestling is gonna win the shit. He's taking the chip. I'm calling it now. I apologize for my language, but that got me fired up. So, with that said, who does it go to?
Bullock.
Mike, it's yours, bro.
All I can say is, Fletch, oh, my brother, oh, testify.
Hype man in the house.
Oh, yeah. I mean, hearing this from Fletch about Okada, and I truly believe him. And I mean, now you add him with Jay White, Adam Hangman Page. and Adam Cole. I'm calling right now, not just for Okada to regain the IWGP World Heavyweight title. I'm going to call it right now. I don't give a damn what anybody says. This match is going to steal the damn show. I don't care what anybody says. And I'll even go as far as to call it the fight of the night. I mean,
Amen.
anybody wants to. I mean, before Okada, it was just. I mean, I wouldn't have said what I said, but now you put Okada in there, it's going to be the fight, and it's going to steal the damn show. No question about it. Yeah. I mean, what was the match? I mean, we just hype about Okada.
It was Hangman Adam Page versus Silas Young.
All right, and what was the time?
MF, I think you said it was about 8 or so minutes.
Uh,
Yeah, I think you said it was about 8 minutes. So I'll give this about
8:43 officially, guys.
Yeah. So I'm gonna give this about I'll give this 2.5 to 3. I mean, everything was done perfectly, especially after the match. But oh man, I just got so hyped for this match here. So to me, there's really nothing more to say. Now, am I giving Fletch? I mean, it's yours. Now, is it Florio's turn?
Well, I'm gonna give it to Anthony. So, because I already
All
spoke
right.
my piece about the whole thing.
Yeah,
Yes,
and like I said before, guys, this match is going to steal the damn show and the fight of the night. I don't care what anybody says. If anybody wants to freaking debate me, go ahead. I don't give a you know what about it. So it's yours, Florio. Period. End of quotation. End of statement.
Oh, in the immortal words of the late great Regis Philbin. Well, how am I going to follow that? My gosh. All right, let's get the match out of the way. 2.5 to 3 stars for this. It was predictably a damn physical match that highlighted Silas Young a bit, but was ultimately a showcase for Hangman, who overcame the very game Ring of Honor alum and put him away with a buckshot lariat. What was a fun sprint of a match gave way to drama between IWGP World Heavyweight Champion Switchblade Jay White, fellow Bullet Club alum Adam Cole, and Hangman Adam Page. Before we could get clarification on who White would defend against Sunday Night at Forbidden Door, 2-on-1 beatdown of Hangman ensued. That brought out Kazuchika Okada for his first AEW appearance. The Rainmaker cleared the ring, stood tall alongside Hangman to close out the segment. With that, this road to Forbidden Door just got even more interesting. I don't even have to sell it. MF already hyped as our forever resident hype man, but I'm going to give my quick 2 cents. Now, I don't follow New Japan as religiously as MF and our old colleague Derek Ferrera do, but even I will acknowledge the fact that Kazuchika Okada is the biggest star in New Japan Pro Wrestling, and his presence ahead of this interpromotional had been lacking. He instantly creates excitement and intrigue for a show that had very little entering tonight's show, and with all signs pointing to what could have been a possible tag match, but ended up going with the 4-way for the IWGP Heavyweight title. There is no denying that his presence alone on this show adds the credibility to it that the pay-per-view needed. And I mean, what Okada's arrival was the earth-shattering that this build to Forbidden Door needed desperately. And oh my, I mean, what else is there to say? MF, I'm very surprised you didn't say "shut up and take my money," which has been your other big staple around here. But But oh yeah, Michael Bullock is absolutely right. This will steal the damn show, and Bullock and I will have our preview of Forbidden Door this Friday night on a special edition of the Cerebral Smack Talk on my channel, the Tone 25, and we don't even have to wait until then. But we're going to elaborate a little more on Friday night. But I agree with you guys. I do believe Kazuchika Okada will regain the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship on this show. And if you thought the pop for CM Punk 10 months ago was huge, I don't know if it's going to be as big as that one, but it's going to be darn close to it. So that's all there is to say on that. So 2.5 to 3 for the match. But what happened, the post-match, that was hands down the moment of the night. No doubt about it. So, oh boy. Business has most assuredly picked up in a humongous way. So, man, Sunday night, I can't wait to see it. So, Bullock, I'm going to tell you right now, wait till you see Kazuchika Okada. He is something. Let me tell you that. He is absolutely something. And the only matches that I've ever seen from him were his legendary trilogy with Kenny Omega. I saw those matches. MF sent me the links to them. I saw them on YouTube, and I was blown away. I mean, they went damn near 40 minutes to a damn near hour, even over an hour on a couple of occasions. All of them were well over Dave Meltzer. All of them broke Dave Meltzer's star rating system. So, and I believe this one has the potential to do just that again. So, not much more to say here. Like I said, 2.5 to 3 for the match, but the biggest talking point of this show here tonight, MF, without question, the surprise appearance of the heart and soul of New Japan and your boy, the Rainmaker, Kazuchika Okada. Damn it to hell, business has just picked up. Let's move on.
Yeah, this is going to be big, man. Oh, man. All right. So, next up we have was Toni Storm versus Marina Shafir. It was Toni Storm winning the match, 6 minutes and 55 seconds. I'm gonna say a solid match. It was all right. It was a pretty good battle. I give this about 2.5 stars. I thought it was good for what it was worth. And now Toni Storm is looking at that date with Destiny, as she will, I would believe, will be challenging Thunder Rosa for the AEW Women's World Title. And I believe that's on Forbidden Door as well, guys. I haven't heard anything official yet on that.
Thunder Rosa and Toni Storm will battle it out for the AEW Women's World Championship as part of Forbidden Door Sunday night, correct?
Okay, so it has been confirmed. All right, so that's all I'm gonna say, and yeah, this is gonna be interesting. So I got really nothing more to say. So Anthony, it's yours.
By default, this was the worst fight of the night. Bullock, if you can mute your mic for a moment. Okay. Lost my train of thought. All right, here we go. By default, this was the worst fight of the night. I'm going to give this about 2.5 stars, even though it wasn't remotely bad. The top contender, Toni Storm, the top contender of the women's title, was motivated to show off her abilities ahead of Sunday's high-profile match. But Marina Shafir is still developing as an in-ring performer. Every match is another rep of which she needs many. Too often, she appears to be a step off and is clearly not at the level of performance that her peers are. Not necessarily a bad thing in that working with the more experienced workers will only help her learn and evolve. With that said, the women of AEW get such little TV time on Dynamite and Rampage, as it is that letting Shafir's development play out on one of the two main shows feels like a misuse of time. Let her work with some of her fellow competitors on Dark and Elevation and develop her skill set there so she is not being exposed in these matches. Potential's there, and her striking sets her apart from others in the division. Build around that and let her find herself as an in-ring performer, and she will succeed. Continue to book her in matches like this where her weaknesses are on display, and it will only hurt her in the long run. But I'll give it 2.5. By default, the worst fight of the night. I mean, it wasn't remotely bad, but because of all the other matches and how great everything else was, we have to default this as the worst fight of the night, even though it wasn't remotely bad. So not much more to say. Bullock, Toni Storm gets the momentum. She gets the big momentum going into the big match with Rosa. And your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, like you, 2 1/4, like you said, solid match. It wasn't all things that here tonight was even better than that. I mean, Toni Storm definitely gets some momentum going into her AEW title match against Thunder Rosa, and Marina Shafir is definitely a work in progress. I mean, give her some time, and she'll definitely be something when it comes to the women's division somewhere down the road. So nothing else to say. It's your Sledge.
Yeah, there's really nothing more to say here. So, I think it was solid for what it was worth. I think we already talked about it. So, next up we had was a tag team match. This was the main event of the evening, as it was Hiroshi Tanahashi and Jon Moxley. They went up against Chris Jericho and Lance Archer. Tanahashi and Moxley wins the match in 11 minutes and 55 seconds. So, Michael Bullock, it is yours.
I thought it was a solid main event. I'll give this about 3 1/4 stars, teetering on 3.5. I mean, definitely a great way to close out this edition of Rampage. So, yeah, I'm gonna be very interested. I mean, Tanahashi and Moxley partners tonight, but come Sunday, they're gonna be battling for that interim AEW World Title. So we'll wait and see what happens. So, Fletch, it's yours.
Yeah, the AEW interim world title will be defended, as it will be Jon Moxley versus Hiroshi Tanahashi, and the winner will fight sometime down the line, as they'll have to go up against the one and only, as they're going to have to go up against CM Punk whenever Punk gets back from his broken foot. Yeah, we're going to have to wait and see. It was a solid main event. This was about 3.5 stars for me. So, Florida, what's yours?
Yeah, 3.5 stars for this as well. 3 1/4, 3.5. Solid main event there. A lot of craziness at the end of the show there. You had Moxley and Tanahashi eye to eye, face to face, and all that in the ring. And then you had all kinds of chaos with the Jericho Appreciation Society and Eddie Kingston's crew on the outside brawling. And Eddie Kingston is going to be teaming up with Wheeler Yuta, and I don't know. I forgot. I mean, I know who the other guy is. I just can't remember his name. Where Eddie Kingston and Wheeler Yuta are going to be teaming up in a 6-man on Sunday against Chris Jericho, Sammy Guevara, and Minoru Suzuki, and that's going to be a big 6-man tag there, and which should be very interesting to say the very least. And I'll find the other I'll find the other guy's name, but that's gonna be at Forbidden Door, and man, Jericho, Guevara, and Suzuki, that's gonna be something else. And Shota Umino. Do you know who that is, MF?
I've heard of the name. I think I'm not familiar with Shota Umino. I think he's one of the newer guys in New Japan.
All right. He's teaming. He's going to be teaming up with Wheeler Yuta and Eddie Kingston in a 6-man tag Sunday against Chris Jericho, Sammy Guevara, and of course Minoru Suzuki, and we know who that is.
Oh yeah.
So that should be an interesting match there. They brawled on the outside. Some Jericho Appreciation Society members got in there as well, and crazy brawl at the end, and then Moxley and Tanahashi eye to eye, face to face in the middle of the ring to close it out. So 3 1/4, 3.5 for the match. Let's get into the overall review.
This was an excellent show. 8.5 for me. I don't think there was anything bad about the show. So this was an incredible show, and I really got nothing more to add. So Anthony, it's yours.
Another week, another great show. And I'm going to say it right now. I don't think MF was here when I said this last, but I'm going to say it again here because I think it was one of those shows that when it was just me and Bullet. But MF, I'm gonna make a statement that you're going to hear for the first time. Bullet knows where I'm going with this. AEW Dynamite, to me, is out of all the weekly television shows, when you combine this show with Raw, NXT, Impact Wrestling, and SmackDown, this is hands down the best weekly episodic show week in and week out. And tonight just proved it. I mean, the 2 hours just fly by like nothing because it's so fun to watch, and they did it again here tonight. I mean, all the matches were solid to good to great. Had some very good in-ring segments. That Christian segment, oh my goodness, the Christian Cage segment. Oh, that might have been the best heel promo Christian Cage has ever cut in his entire wrestling career. WWE, Impact, AEW, you name it, he did it here tonight. That was the best heel promo I have ever heard Christian cut. Period. And the statement and the quotation on that. And that was one of the many highlights of this show tonight. The Danielson segment that opened it up with Zack Sabre Jr. showing up. Oh, what could have been if Zack Sabre Jr. and Bryan Danielson had been able to go at it. That would have stolen the damn show. That would have put the IWGP 4-way to shame. But it depends on who the replacement is, and we're going to find that out on Sunday night. But everything else was great. But the highlight, hands down, the highlight of this show tonight wasn't even a match. It was the surprise appearance of Kazuchika Okada. That's going to get everybody around the water cooler and anywhere else tomorrow, because everybody's going to be talking about this all the way up until match time Sunday night. So 8.5, no question about it. Michael Bullock, take it home.
Yeah, 8.5 for me. I mean, this was definitely a damn good show. I mean, all the matches were good to solid, and of course, the thing that really stole the show was the appearance of Okada. I mean, the one that really drew the excitement of everybody in that arena. Yeah, so there's really nothing more for me to say. It's your selection.
Michael Bullock, keep your mic on. We're gonna get into the recap of NXT, and then we're gonna finish it off with some remembrances here. So we started it off with Solo Sikoa versus Grayson Waller. Grayson Waller won the match in 12 minutes and 18 seconds.
3 1/4 stars is my rating for the match. I mean, I could have given it a little higher, but yeah, I mean, the little chicanery with the turnbuckle did take a little bit away, but it was still a damn good match.
All right. We're gonna go with the tag team match, as it was Chance and Carter going against Braza and Leon. Chance and Carter wins the match in 5 minutes and 15 seconds.
1.5 stars is my rating for the match. I mean, it was short, but yeah, definitely. I mean, Chance and Carter definitely needed that win after what happened at In Your House. So there's really nothing more for me to say.
Tag team match: Diamond Mine versus Legado del Fantasma. Diamond Mine wins the match in 4 minutes and 57 seconds.
I mean, I'm going to give this about another 1.5. I mean, imagine how this match could have gone if they gotten more time. I mean, it could have been a much higher rating, but only 1.5 is good enough for me.
All right. With that said, then we move on to Cameron Grimes versus Idris Anolfi. Cameron Grimes wins the match in 5 minutes and 37 seconds.
2 stars is my rating for it. I mean, obviously, Cam's needed this win here, especially going into his NXT title match at the Great American Bash against Braun Breaker.
All right. Next up, we have was Von Wagner versus Brooks Jansen. Von Wagner, 4 minutes and 45 seconds.
Again, I'll give it another 1.5 stars for my rating for this match.
All right. Alba Fire versus Lash Legend. Alba Fire wins the match by disqualification in 3:31. Anthony and I didn't talk about the match. You don't have to talk about it if you don't want to.
Just move on.
All right. Carmelo Hayes versus Tony D'Angelo. North American Championship fight. Carmelo Hayes successfully defend the title in 10 minutes and 38 seconds.
3.25 rating for it. I mean, Tony D'Angelo looked like he was going to get some help from Santos Escobar, but he passed the brass knucks to Carmelo Hayes. I mean, Tony D'Angelo felt betrayed, and then Carmelo is using the brass knucks, and yeah, I mean, let's be honest, Fletch. Did Legado del Fantasma really want to be part of that family for Tony D'Angelo?
No.
Absolutely not. And Santos Escobar showed his true colors. And don't think for a minute Tony D'Angelo is gonna forget about this. So, if I were Santos Escobar, I'd be on the run right now. So, but by hook or crook, Carmelo Hayes is still the champion.
All right. And overall review.
All right. Again, I'm gonna have to give this maybe a 5 out of 10 for this edition of NXT 2.0. I mean, a good first match and a good last match, but everything else was just short. I mean, that's just how I feel about it. So it's yours, Fletch.
All right, guys. So now that we are part of the show, this was the point that we were gonna try to talk about it, and we're gonna honor a couple of guys who passed away. I thought you guys had done it on Monday. I guess obviously that was not the case.
We did.
Oh, all right.
But there were some things that I terribly forgot to mention about both men, but that I should have mentioned the other night. But yes, Bullock and I at the start of the show, like we always do, we paid our respects to the passings of Dave Hebner and Tim White. And you weren't on the show, MF, but you knew Dave Hebner and Tim White just as much as Bullock and I did. And Michael Bullock actually met Tim White. Yeah, Bullock. Why don't you let MF know the little story you told us on Monday night, even though I already know it. But you met Tim White at your job at the Stop and Shop there.
Yeah, that's the thing, Fletch. I mean, there are some times I've actually ran into Tim White at Stop and Shop. He's actually gone and do some grocery shopping there. So I had a chance to shake his hand and basically talk a little wrestling with him, and of course about his time, of course, refereeing that Hell in a Cell, and of course some of the other matches that he's done. I mean, just to get an opportunity to talk to someone like Tim White is something I'll never forget, Fletch.
Very well said. Yeah. Look, I'll give this a quick thought. Of course, when we start with Dave Hebner, he was one of the big referees, especially during the days of the WWF. Um, in the late '80s, early '90s, Hebner was the guy that was the referee for a lot of the big matches. And if you remember, Dave Hebner refereed the main events of some of the big WrestleManias, especially WrestleMania 4 and WrestleMania 5. He was the
No, that was
referee.
Earl did 4.
Oh, Earl did 4.
Yeah.
But Dave did 5.
Yep.
So Dave did 5 as the lead official. He did the Mega Powers explosion. So I mean, what is there to say? So yeah, without a doubt, Dave Hebner is without a doubt was well received, well respected in WWE, and then he did get himself in a little bit of some trouble, especially towards the end of his career. There was some memorabilia issue or something like that. Unfortunately, for Dave Hebner, especially towards the end of his career, um, he did suffer an illness, um, uh, and
Parkinson's disease.
yeah, he was suffering through Parkinson's, and
that's what my father had.
And unfortunately, at the end, he passed away on the 17th, on about a week ago, from an illness in Virginia. He was 73 years old. The only claim to fame is that he was inducted into the Ground Zero Wrestling Hall of Fame in 2016, and is well respected and well loved. So yeah, my thoughts and prayers are with the family. And then as far as Tim White goes, which this was a little more closer to home because, like everybody knew, Tim White was a referee for a number of years. Actually won the New England Pro Wrestling Icon Award in 2010, and as far as his career goes, yeah, he was in a number of post WWE. He continued to do a lot of the companies thing. He was with WWE. Of course, looking for the most unique treasures, or the documentary about Andre the Giant, where he was best friends with Andre the Giant, and he actually was his caregiver. He took care of Andre, especially as like you could say as like a roadie for Andre during especially towards the later years in his life. He has some very, very vivid memories of that. And of course, if you guys live in the Rhode Island area, the one area that you would always love to go to was the Friendly Tap Bar, which was in Pawtucket. That's actually the bar that Tim White owns, and it was the site of two of the most legendary barroom fights that was started by the damn APA.
Yep, mentioned that the other night. Yep.
Mentioned that, and also you remember that was the night where Stone Cold Steve Austin was chilling in the bar as he was making his decision about if he wanted it to be with WWE, if he still wanted to be a part of WWF or the Alliance, or what his mindset was. If you remember, Tim White told him, "Hey, the bar is closed. It's all yours. Take as much time as you need, just to clear your head." And yeah, it worked. So at the end of the day, these were two iconic referees, two referees that we know very well, that was very near and dear to our hearts, and our thoughts and prayers are with the families. And it was a tragic loss, to say the very least. Yeah. So with that said, we closed the chapter on tonight's Wednesday Night Madness. Thank you so much for watching. Anthony, we got ourselves a pretty decent show coming tomorrow for Sports World.
Indeed. But before I get into that, there are a couple of other things I wanted to quickly get into about Dave Hebner and Tim White that I should have mentioned the other night.
Sure, go ahead.
Just to make sure that everybody knew who they were. Dave Hebner, MF, not only was he the referee for the Mega Powers, but let's not forget, he also refereed Macho Man Randy Savage and Ricky the Dragon Steamboat at WrestleMania 3. The match that stole the damn show and changed the business forever. And one of the first great matches in the history of professional wrestling right there. And that's really when professional wrestling took off. And we cannot also forget the legendary career-ending match with the Macho King Randy Savage and the Ultimate Warrior at WrestleMania 7. He was the referee for that. And this past Sunday at Slammiversary, the Impact Slammiversary of NMF, Brian Hebner, Earl's son, and Dave's nephew, Earl and Brian Hebner had a very special moment following the Impact Originals victory over Honor No More in that 10-man tag match. Brian and Earl Hebner both pointed up to the heavens, not just for Dave Hebner, but also for Timmy White as well. And Dave Hebner also refereed, a lot of great matches from Saturday Night's Main Event. I mean, some of the great matches, but he refereed a lot of matches with Randy Macho Man Savage. I think he refereed more Macho Man matches back in the day than anybody. And as I said it the other night, I'll say it again here. And MF, I'm sure you'll agree with me. Dave Hebner will forever and always be the most no-nonsense official in WWE history. He was never afraid to get in anybody's face. I mean, he did not take bleep from anybody. He did not. And that's what I loved about Dave Hebner so much. I mean, that's why, that fire and intensity he always had whenever he would get in a heel's face, especially Macho's, because he and Macho had many run-ins back in the day, let me tell you. Just like Triple H did with Earl Hebner in the Attitude Era. All those run-ins, Triple H and Earl Hebner. Ooh, we all remember that. And some other great Dave Hebner moments, most noticeably WrestleMania 2. He was you talked about WrestleMania main event, MF. He refereed WrestleMania 2, the main event, Hulk Hogan and King Kong Bundy in the steel cage for the World Wrestling Federation Championship. And some great Saturday Night's Main Event matches that he did included Macho Man against Jake the Snake Roberts for the Intercontinental Heavyweight Championship, Hulk Hogan against Hercules for the World Wrestling Federation Championship on that same show. Also refereed a lumberjack match with Macho Man and George the Animal Steele on a Saturday Night's Main Event, Hulk Hogan against King Kong Bundy, and of course he was also the referee when the Ultimate Warrior deliciously squashed the Honky Tonk Man at the very first SummerSlam. The 31-second squash, we all remember that, when the Warrior won the Intercontinental title, and that's when his career took off on that night. And his last match that he ever refereed in WWE was on a SmackDown, the final SmackDown 1999, X-Pac versus The Big Show. X-Pac's job was on the line, but Triple H and Stephanie, you remember this is when the whole McMahon-Helmsley era thing started. And Triple H turned it into a 4-on-1 handicap match with D-Generation X versus The Big Show. And Dave Hebner was the referee in that. And Dave was also an agent. And of course, yes, he was fired in 2005 with Earl. It was him and Earl who were the masterminds of that memorabilia scandal that resulted in them losing their jobs in 2005 and never coming back. And I think that's also why they didn't give the in loving memory of Dave Hebner screen graphic that we saw on Monday Night Raw and on NXT the other night. But they did it for Tim White because Tim White never did any of that. Tim White, and you heard that story from Bullock. Bullock actually got to meet him and talk to him and shake his hand at his job at the Stop and Shop. I mean, that is what I would have given to have been there. And I know you would have given the same thing, MF. You would have, because I would have loved to have gotten his input into the business. And Of course, you talked about Andre, where he was his handler. We all remember that, and their friendship well documented. And I mentioned that the other night. And of course, let's not forget, he was the referee when The Undertaker and Mankind had that infamous Hell in a Cell match at the 1998 King of the Ring. The one where Taker threw Mankind off the top of Hell in a Cell. That was Mick Foley's idea. I don't know if you knew that, MF. That was Mick Foley's idea. Mick Foley talked The Undertaker into doing it. Taker was like, "No, I'm not doing it." But Foley somehow managed to persuade him.
He actually not only talked to Taker about it, but he also got the okay from Vince at the time.
Yeah.
And I remember vividly Vince telling Foley, "Don't you ever do that again."
Now that part I didn't know, but
yeah,
but
he told Vince, and let's just say a lot of people were pretty squeamish about a couple of those moments in that fight.
Oh yeah. And Tim White was in the middle of it. Tim White was in the middle of it. And poor Tim White had to be in the middle of all that.
Yeah.
But that wasn't the only Hell in a Cell match he did. I think he did 3 of those.
Yeah, he did 3.
Because he also did Taker and the Boss Man at WrestleMania 15. And of course, the one that he's most well known for, the Judgment Day, 2002, Triple H and Chris Jericho. Remember when he tore up his shoulder?
He tore the rotator cuff when he got careened off the cell.
I'm glad that was not his last match, because he actually did get to referee one more match, and that was Christian and Chris Jericho at WrestleMania 20.
Mm-hmm.
And I heard that he re-aggravated that injury, and that did it. And I also mentioned, remember that hardcore battle royale at WrestleMania 2000?
Mm-hmm.
That infamous hardcore battle royal with that controversial finish with the Hollies. I mean, and this was one of the other big omissions I forgot to mention. What about that 2-fall triple threat match?
Yeah.
Kurt Angle, Chris Benoit, Chris Jericho,
mm-hmm.
for the Intercontinental and European titles. And Tim White was the referee of that. And one other news gem, I don't know if you know this, MF, but do you remember November of 1988? The World Wrestling Federation did a big event in Paris, France, and Tim White was the referee when Rockin' Robin took the World Wrestling Federation Women's Championship from Sensational Sherry Martel.
Now that I did not know that he actually refereed. I heard about it. But if you remember it, they were playing it off like it was a French referee. It wasn't a French referee. It was actually
It was Tim White.
It was Tim White.
And by the way, Primetime Wrestling did a big 3-hour special because this was an event. And although they did show two matches from a Saturday night's main event on that same show, Hulk Hogan versus King Haku and Jake the Snake versus Ravishing Rick Rude on that show, but it's on Peacock. That Primetime Wrestling is on Peacock, and you can find that match. And heck, you could also find it on.
I think I remember it because I remember seeing it. So I think I remember seeing that episode. So yes, you're absolutely right, Anthony.
November 8th of 1988. That was the date, and it's on Peacock, so you can check that out. That match that was there. That's when Rockin' Robin won the World Wrestling Federation Women's Championship from Sensational Sherry Martel. Tim White was the referee, and Gorilla and Bobby did the commentary. So it was a cool moment for them, and that match is also on YouTube as well. But it's on Peacock. That entire show that they did in Paris, France, that was headlined by Macho Man Randy Savage versus Akeem for the World Wrestling Federation Championship. I looked that over, and it looked like a halfway decent card. I'll tell you that right now. So, but I think that might have been one of the show stealers that night. But Tim White, Rhode Island ties. Obviously, he was born in Cumberland, Rhode Island, and I think that's where the Friendly Tap was. I don't think it's Pawtucket. I think it's Cumberland. That's in, and they would film there whenever WWF was in Providence, and And yes, you mentioned the APA bar fights. Yes, I got into that the other night, and two of the all-time great referees in the history of professional wrestling, and Tim White, after refereeing MF, he was actually working with some superstars for superstar public appearances. I mean, he actually was the go-to guy. I mean, he would lay out the groundwork for them with the itinerary and everything else. I know he was doing something with that, and a lot of the superstars tweeted their love and support for Tim White and for Dave Hebner. Present superstars, legends, and everything else, and they will sorely be missed. And two of the great no nonsense referees, and they both had several great moments, and they may both be gone, but they'll never be forgotten. So that's something that we definitely, and I'm glad you brought it up, MF, because I definitely wanted to hear what you had to say about it, since you weren't on the other night. So before we close, I'm going to get into what we were supposed to get into. TXN Sports World, wasn't sure if we were going to have a show, but now we're going to have one because some things did come out. Unfortunately, we do have to start the show with some bad news. Tony Saragusa, legendary Baltimore Raven offensive lineman, and then was also known for being a very prominent analyst and sideline reporter for Fox Sports NFL coverage. Unfortunately, he passed away today, and never easy to start the show with a death, but we're going to pay our respects to Tony Saragusa at the start of tomorrow night's show. It's a light docket. It's not a huge one. We also have Rob Gronkowski. Rob Gronkowski announced his retirement from the NFL. The Florida Panthers, believe it or not, have a new head coach. Even after that extraordinary season they had, that President's Trophy winning season, they have a new head coach. We'll tell you who that is. And then in the main event, we're going to recap the NHL awards. And there's one award in particular that good old MF Michael Fletcher and I are beyond delighted about the outcome of. So I think you may know where I'm going with it, but believe us, we're going to definitely wax poetic about it because he is beyond deserving of it. That's all I'm saying. So that's it. Yep.
And I do want to let you know the Big Three is back.
That's right. Yes.
And I do have a Big Three recap for what happened in Week 1. So
and maybe you can get into a preview of Week 2 as well.
Yeah, I'll do it.
Cool. All right.
But that will be co-main event. NHL gets top billing tonight.
Yeah, NHL awards will be the main event, but before that, it will be I'll turn the mic over to you for the Big Three. Yep. We promised you we were going to bring it back after the popularity of MF segments last summer, and we're damn sure not going to disappoint. We're damn sure not going to start now. So, Big Three recaps starting tomorrow night. So, and we'll try to make time for it next week because we got the big NBA draft show next week. So
yeah, I might do it 1 week from tonight I might do it right here 1 week from tonight.
Oh, there you go. All right, yeah, because we are doing more crossovers now. So
yeah,
which has made our shows interesting. So tomorrow night, Tony Saragusa, pay our respects. We'll also get into the retirement of Gronk, the new head coach of the Florida Panthers, MF's Big Three, the first of several Big Three reports from MF, and then we'll main event it with our recap of the NHL awards. 10:30, right? Or
yeah, 10:30 is fine.
Or did you want to do it earlier? It's fine with
me.
10:30
is perfect.
Okay, all right, because I want to make sure we accommodate you. So because I know you're going to be on. So. All right, so 10:30 tomorrow night, we'll get into all that. TXN Sports World, Tone 25. And MF, I believe you have some bad news about Friday when it comes to you anyway.
Yeah, unfortunately, I will not be on the show. So Anthony will be taking over as he'll be recapping AEW Rampage, SmackDown, and the preview for Forbidden Door. So Anthony will be taking over. I'm going to be on the bench on that, guys. So with that said, It'll be fine. I'll be back tomorrow. And everybody have a great night. So we'll see you guys tomorrow for the next edition of TXN Sports World. Good night.